What's going on, y'all? It's J Small Reviews here, back at it again with another video, continuing the wrap-up content as we get closer and closer to the official end of the year. And for the next video, as you can see right here, I am doing the top 5 events of 2023. I see some people are doing League of the Year. I'm gonna be honest with you, man, it doesn't take a genius, a rocket scientist to kind of just look and obviously see RB has had, in my opinion, by far the most kind of flawless year of the league. And I thought pivoting from that, I see people doing that, but I think top 5 events is just a little bit better. You can compare each event that had the key battles were collection of key battles. And for me, when I rank these events, impact is big. Obviously, impact's going to get you on the list, but within that, a lot of these events have a heavy impact. What about the battle quality? What about back and forth, also while tying in some of the better performances of the year? But just like last video, going to do a couple honorable mentions real quick, fire off a couple that just missed the list for me and why they did, and then get right into the events that I thought were the 5 best cards of the year. So for my 3 honorable mentions, just going to fire off the 3 of them pretty quick. One is obviously Traffic 6. I say obviously, but I have Traffic 6 from URL. Later in the year event, I thought overall one of their better cards, 6 battle card. You get a lot of, every battle for the most part gave you something. If it wasn't one of someone's better performances of the year, you get top battles like a Jay versus Geechee performances, and even bad. I thought Kid Slade and Nitty actually aged pretty good as a battle. Nitty having a great performance that night. Danny's performance against Sheed, Hansel's performance against Shug, and even the opener, you know what I'm saying, with his real name Brandon and Holmesy, which for many is a very bypassable battle, but if your opener at least is good, and then everything from there either has a great performance or a good back and forth, it's a card worth mentioning. Second one is Divide and Conquer 1, the first Divide and Conquer. We'll talk about Divide and Conquer 2 here in a little bit, but Divide and Conquer 1, solid work. Hollow versus Ill Will held the Battle of the Year crown, I thought, for a minute. I did have quite a few battles jumping it by the end of the year. I thought bigger fan of Will's performance than I was the competitiveness of the battle. I may be in the minority with that. I see a lot of people that give Hollow the battle. I just personally thought Will won the first and third clear, but Hollow's second is also very good. So there's still way more positive things to say than negative. Really no negative things. I just got a winner of the battle. Big K's performance versus A-Ward. I believe Bad News versus Pain. I'm not going to say underrated because I got a lot of love in the moment, but obviously a gem of a battle on that undercard. Even Rosenberg's performance versus Jag. So a few different things that I think put it in there. And then my last honorable mention, which some think probably maybe number 1 on the list, and for what it did beyond the battles, it should be. But I do have the Stay Forever event as my last honorable mention. Like I said, when you raise over $200K for a Fallen Legends family, especially someone like Pat that breathed nothing but positivity into the game, that's the accomplishment of the year from this culture. In my opinion, that is the coolest thing anybody did, is that we got Pat's family some money and gave them some support following a tragic incident. But on top of that, battles were still pretty good from the event too, and a lot of like nostalgic moments. Obviously, you have a Sharon and Hollow turns into a Jin versus Ilmac 1-rounder, which is crazy to say out loud in the year 2023. Mad Flex versus Mike, pretty good. Thesaurus's performance and obviously his twist scheme versus Kid Twist was really dope. You can go on and on. There's the 2-on-2, the performance from Real Sick and Lou Castro versus Clips and DNA. A lot of good things happen in this event. I have other things beating it out battle quality wise, and at the end of the day, that is what I'm going to base this list on. For the most part, is quality. Impact, like I said, a mixture of things. I think Stay Forever was good. I just think a few other events had better battles, but for what it did for the culture, man, this is beyond important. Probably the most important thing we did has to be mentioned on this list one way or another. And without further ado, here is my top 5 events. So starting out from the bottom of the list, we are going to start with a very impactful event that happened earlier in the year, and that is Chrome 23's anniversary card. Now, it's funny, the strength of this card, in a weird way, is also the weakness. There is not a lot of competitiveness in this card. There's not a lot of good back and forth. There is a lot of boot to ass. There is whoopings all over this card, but in impactful fashion, and really some highlight performances from a lot of these MCs. You have C3's performance versus Caution, winning the first ever $25,000 women's tournament. Historic, did it in explosive fashion and gave her best performance of the year, one of the most important of her career, saying a lot considering the active legend that C3 is. From there, you have A-Ward versus Vixen. For those of you that have seen my top 5 bodies video, you know I obviously think a lot of this performance. I do think it is one of the biggest bodies of the year. If not A-Ward's best performance of the year. The moment, the Crown Vic moment in there is also one of the top moments of the year. So you see impact everywhere, even if there is 230s I've named so far. Easy versus Hitman Holla. Incredible performance from Easy. Not a bad Hitman by any means either. His first is elite. It is a debatable first, although I edge it to Easy. But then from there, he puts on a masterclass in the second and third with one of the most important battles of the year. It has over 3 million views in 10 months. I mean, in terms of impact, this card is bleeding impact. And then even the last battle that went down, because people forget, because Easy and Hitman was second to last, but Miss Hustle smoked Shuni and had a very good performance against Shuni at the end of the night. Like I said, that lack of competition, it's tougher when you have other events that are also very important with the great back and forth battle of the year type of battles, which for me is very key. I love a body bag, you know what I'm saying? But we're always going to produce, at least I'm always going to prefer a great back and forth where it's 6 rounds of great as compared to, for the most part, lopsided wins. In terms of straight impact, you could argue it a little higher. In terms of competition, you argue a little bit lower. Either way, it's easily one of the top 5 events of this year. And that gets you right into number 4. And at number 4, we do have Outside 2 from URL. Now, grading this one, you got to grade it a little different than the rest of these events. It's not a live event, so you don't get that same impact of watching it live, jokes on the timeline, seeing these moments in real time go down. I'm trying to remember what the drop schedule was like for Outside 2. I don't remember if it dropped a battle a day for a minute or if it all dropped like day 1, day 2. It's also a 2-day event, making it a little bit different than some of these other cards. But either way, Outside 2 ended up having a lot of good footage. Nitty versus the Flair is a very good battle. Twerk versus Chef Trez is a very good battle. Ace Amin versus Arsenal is pretty good. I think Ace was the clear victor of the battle, but you still get a decent Arsenal in that battle as well. Sheet Happens versus Bill Collector, a little bit slept on. I thought it was a pretty good battle though. I can't lie to you. Klutz versus JC, I think, is one of the better battles that any top 6 person has put on this year. I mean, the list goes. Foots versus Jerry West, very, very good battle from that card. So I'm naming a bunch of good footage. It is a bit of a volume argument because it was a 2-day event to have a lot of battles that aren't necessarily the best either. Fonz versus O-Red for me was disappointing, although Fonz won. Like I said, some people would say Sheet and Bill was disappointing. I know Prep versus Ease was on this card. I mean, you look at it was like 15, 16 battles, so it has that advantage. Some might not have it on the list, but for me, those top 5 to 7 battles are very, very good. Some better than others, but many notable. Twerk versus Trez, notable battle. Nitty versus a Flair, notable battle. And I thought the top 6 did a good job showcasing themselves. And for me, the best event that URL came up with this year. Like I said, Traffic was in that convo. I'm not going to mention SM on this list. I thought it was a good event, but not a great event or of this list. And it's kind of crazy, out of all of these, an early app-only event in the year with Outside 2, in my opinion, is the best footage that URL put out this year. From there, we can get into the top 3, obviously the big dogs of this conversation. And at number 3, as I said earlier, we talked about Divide and Conquer 1, and I do have Divide and Conquer 2 here at number 3. And there's a lot of battles that I just like here. Obviously, with Big K and Mook, you could debate with Divide and Conquer 1 or 2 which Big K you might prefer. And this might sound crazy. Although I do think Big K's first versus A-Ward is probably the best round he rapped this year. I think his 3 rounds for Mook is probably the best performance that he gave this year. On top of that, pretty decent Mook. I've been happy with the Murder Mook footage we got this year. I do have him losing both battles. Pretty clear that he battled in. But even in this one, he does have his moments. The Nursery, Doberman Pincher, because you pitch dope to men. But listen, Mook's first was still really good in this battle, in my opinion. You get a great K. From there, you have Clips versus Rosenberg, a battle that, due to the fact that Clips kind of has just done silliness. He was doing silliness before this battle. He's just absolutely not gave a fuck after the battle. Congratulations to him on the birth of his son, though. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Clips on that note. But for the most part, you haven't got a lot of serious performances. You get the best Clips and a Rosenberg Raw, who obviously went more towards the media side. Froze has done fantastic, by the way, with the blogging and media. Love everything that he does on his channel. But this was his best battle of the year. Before, maybe, Shane Ashley. The Mike P battle is good. Didn't have him on the many didn't have him on the winning side of that, but Clips versus Rose, for me, great back and forth. You get the Clips third moment, kind of, exposing Raw for maybe trying to sign a contract with URL. You get Rose's first 2 rounds are great. I think the first is competitive. It's a competitive battle. Even Ill Will versus Los, it's probably maybe the third best battle Ill Will's got this year. It's not like maybe his Hollow or his Hitman stuff, but I still think it was a very good battle. Just overall, for me, this event had impact. Carried what Divide and Conquer did, and I thought did it even better. A great third installation at this point, but second Divide and Conquer installation to the Blue Room. Impactful win in the main event, right, with K beating Mook, and for me, just was one of my more favorite events of the year that I go back and watch battles from. Then you get into the top 2, and at the runner-up spot, I may have not had Stay Forever on the top 5. Some people aren't going to like that, but I do have Blackout 8 as the second best event. The only other 2-day event here, and I think it had a few less battles than Outside 2, so it's not like they just had tons and tons of battles. I think it might have been 12. It might have been 10 battles between the 2 days or 12 battles between the 2 days. But out of that, how many good battles did we get from Blackout 8, man? They have the pit day the second day and the stage day the first day, too. So you get, if you like big stage battle rap, it's not the biggest stage, but you get more of that crowd aspect. If you like the more writing driven, you get the second day. First day, A Ward versus Real Sick, great battle. Geechee's performance versus Holohan, a little bit more of a meme, you know what I'm saying, a joke, but a body bag, still a good battle. Performances like Franchise versus Arsenal, I thought was good. And then you get into the second day as well. Oh, Mike P versus Thesaurus as well. More of a great performance for Mike P than a competitive battle, but I thought it was a pretty good Thesaurus too. And then you get to Mad Flex versus Jay the Nightwing. I saw my top 5 battles video. Many of you guys think that should have been up there. No problem with that. Very good battle. I reviewed it, you know what I'm saying? I gave it all the praise in the world. So you have Mad Flex versus Jay the Nightwing, and then you still have Nitty and Ilmac to talk about. Kind of the main event. It felt like a Blackout as a whole, and that obviously made my top 5 battles of the year for 2023. So a lot of high points there to talk about. When you got a top 3 of A Ward Sick, Ilmac, Nitty, and Mad Flex J, just from a quality perspective, it has to be up there. Now, there is a couple misses on the 2-day card, right? Arsenal's performance wasn't exactly the best. Holohan's performance was just not good whatsoever. So, and I'm sure I'm forgetting a couple battles in between there. But those highs are about as high as you're going to get. Those all are battles that very realistically could all make a top 10 battles list. And when you're producing that much good, you have to be praised when we talk about the best cards and who put out the best battles in 2023. At number 1, could it be anything else? Max Out 3 was so by far and away the best event of this year. And these are all very good events that come up here, particularly when we talk about the top 2 with Blackout 8 and Max Out 3, events that I particularly love. But with Max Out 3, you get the impact and energy, and something that ARP did and RB as a whole that I have to praise them for. And you're kind of seeing this now. People are debating if Lux and Nitty should be on a big stage or a small room. A lot of battles, that get this now big stage and small room conversation. I feel like this has to we have to give RB credit for kind of changing the game up a little bit here. They took a event with Max Out 3 that's traditionally a big stage event. Wasn't actually the biggest fan of the first 2 Max Outs battle-wise, to be honest with you. Although they do have obvious, Ill Will, A Ward, and Hitman battles, you know what I'm saying, big impactful things that happen. But they took these battles like Ill Will and Hitman that you would think for sure should be on a stage, a grudge match with A Ward and Verb that could sell tickets. And you went, even though you upcharge to make it, what I assume is the business-wise, you upcharge all that to make the ends meet, to get the MCs paid most. But you put that all in a pit style, that avocado pit style, which he's done with the bunker on King of the Dot, which went crazy, which he's done with Volume 1 through 5 on URL that went crazy. You get that version here, and you're putting mega matches in a pit style setting, and it completely paid off. Whether you like the big stage or the small stage more, let's get this very clear. Both are very needed. But there's something about pit style battle rap, crowd reaction that's still controllable, loud haymaker pops, but still gets back to it pretty quick. You don't have someone, just waiting for crowd reaction to stop for 2 minutes. Very personable. Rhyme pockets are very emphasized, as well as angling, but you could still go in there and punch and bar out or scheme in there. It's almost friendly to all styles. It's the essence of battle rap. So whether you're a performer, whether you're an angler, whether you're a writer, whether you're a puncher, you have the ability to do amazing things in this room. And I thought for the most part, you got a bunch of the best in the world giving you amazing performances. Hitman versus Ill Will, one of the best battles of the year. A Ward versus Verb, a grudge match that turned out great, one of the best battles of the year. Goods versus Calico. Guys, I was on this channel saying, please, God, don't give us Goods versus Calico. I did not want that battle. They put it in the blue room. It's a fantastic battle. There's just no other way around it. You got to call it how you see it. Even B Magic versus Arse is the surprise battle. Most viewed battle from the card, I think, if I'm correct. I could be wrong. Could be the second most viewed battle. We do have a Hitman battle on here. But even that was really good. You can go on and on. Big K's performance versus Young Ill. There's just so many things that are great about this card. Some of the absolute best battles of the year. Some of the absolute biggest moments of the year. And really, in my opinion, changing the way that you can do this, where while this is almost always, this card would be on a big stage, they took a risk, they put it in a small room, and for me, not only did that end up giving them the best event of the year, it kind of changed the conversation, the energy battle rap towards what you can do with a small room. Yes, we want mega matches, grudge matches, we want to all be packed in there watching a big stage, but they took a battle like Hitman and Ill Will, they put it in a small room, and they benefited from that. And for me, that's changed the game up a little bit. It checks the boxes in all categories. I can't say enough good things about how great Max Out 3 was. One of the best events in RBE history. And a real game changer. Best event of 2023. But that is my list here for the top 5 events of 2023. Went a little bit tangent about the big room, small room stuff, but I think that all comes down to how great RBE did with the blue room this year. And look at that, 2 events in the top 3. You know, it just goes to show. But I'd love to hear your guys' opinions down below. What events did I miss, or would you put in here? Just to give some shout outs, iBattles Culture 6, I thought was a very, very good event. Obviously, I had the honorable mentions in the beginning, and I think I mentioned it, but URL Summer Madness, though it doesn't even make the honorable mentions, I thought that was a decent event. Been critical. I do think this is a bit of a down year for battle rap. Not horrible, not pull the alarm, but overall, while there was some inconsistencies, we still came out with some great battles and events, and I can only hope that next year every league I don't know how RB is going to elevate, but I hope that every league can elevate up as well, even them, or continue the success they had in 2024 can even be a better year for battle rap. But it's been J Small Reviews again, y'all. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what events I missed or that you would put on this list. I'm going to catch you on the next one, man. Peace.